Hi, this is Mrs. Ellison, trying something new this week. It's called screencasting, and I'm going to tell you about some of the books that we happen to have in the library this week that are available for checkout. So here we go. Last week was actually Banned Books Week, and I know that a lot of you happen to be reading a banned book that is called To Kill a Mockingbird. A banned book is a book that was challenged in either a school or a library around the country. And there is an office called the Office of Intellectual Freedom that records challenges so that we get a chance to know what kinds of books are being removed from libraries or removed from the ability of teachers to teach them. And every year a new list comes out. And every year we have this week called Banned Books Week that we celebrate together. And it's my chance to give you this idea that you have a lot of choices. You can choose to read Hunger Games or you can choose to not read Hunger Games and many others like that. There were two that didn't actually get checked out this week. And I was a little surprised about that because they're really awesome. One of them is from 2004, but it feels just as current as it did in 2004. And it's called Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. Melanie is your girl, and she is going to high school for the first time. She walks onto the bus, and something very odd happens. She actually loses her ability to speak. And there is no physical reason why that should have happened, but there may be another reason why Melanie can no longer use her voice. It's a really wonderful book. Highly recommend it. And then I just finished the next one, Looking for Alaska. It's actually John Green's very first novel, and it won the Prince Award, which is an award that is given out to the best young adult book of the year. This one ran a few years ago, and it's not about Alaska. It's about a boy whose name is Miles. He's going to a private school for the very first time. It's a school where you sleep on campus, and he is meeting his classmates, and there happens to be one who's called Alaska, young, and she is known for pulling a lot of good pranks. That makes the story really humorous, but there's a point where you start to realize that all of the chapter headings at the beginning of the book are counting down to something. 43 days before, then 42 days before. You're going to start to wonder what the before happens to be. This book is not for everyone. I'm happy to tell you more about it. If you're wondering if it's one for you, there is something that happens right in the middle of the story that is surprising, has a lot to do with those chapter headings. Both of these were taken out of collections in other parts of our country, and they have not been taken out of the BHS collection, and they are available to you. I've got some quicker picks that I want to tell you about. 12 Things to Do Before You Crash and Burn is kind of a humorous story that starts with a funeral. Usually humorous stories do not start with funerals, but in this case, this one does. It's about a boy whose father has recently passed away, and he and dad did not get along at all. He, the son, winds up moving to Baltimore for a short period of time to live with his uncle, who he also does not get along with. Uncle has plans for him. Stuck in Neutral is really dark, somewhat depressing. It's set in Seattle. It's about a boy who is can function just as well as any of us can, has great thoughts, but he cannot walk, he cannot talk, he cannot speak in any way. He is stuck in neutral, and his father sometimes wonders whether or not he might be better not living anymore. That's what makes the story so dark. If you like dark things, this is a great one for you. And if you like dystopian, you're going to love the next one. It's called The Always War. It's by one of my favorites, Margaret Peterson Haydix, and she is writing a really good story about a future where we have always been at war. Our girl is watching a war hero come home to her high school, and he is not happy with being a war hero. He actually is supposed to receive an award on that day, and he refuses the medal and says, "I'm no hero," and storms off of the stage. Our girl's determined to figure out what he means, and she actually succeeds. There's something very dark going on in this government, which is a very, very big symbol that happens in a lot of dystopian fiction. Hey, The Martian is a movie that's out right now, and it's really good, and it's based on an awesome book called Martian. It's by Andy Weir, and Andy Weir happens to be somebody who has worked for NASA. So a lot of what he speculates about in terms of being stuck on Mars for 4 years and having to figure out a way to survive until the next mission comes back rings really true. For one thing, he knows that he doesn't have enough food packed, so he's going to actually have to grow things. He's going to have to grow crops on Mars. First, he's going to have to take care of the soil. Then he's going to have to make water. Make water on Mars. That is really difficult. Ask your chemistry teacher if it actually can happen that way. I'm not quite sure. If you are interested in this topic, there's also a great nonfiction book that's called Packing for Mars, The Curious Science of Life in the Void. It's by Mary Roach, who is a very humorous nonfiction writer. She also wrote the book Stiff, which many of you have heard about. And in Packing for Mars, she is trying to figure out the truth about having to live up in space for extended periods of time, how it plays on your psyche, how you have to deal with human waste, what you do there, and but it's got a lot of humor to it. All of the different chapters are essays. That one's available in our library as well. Now, The Martian, we are going to have available for you to check out on Wednesday. I'm suggesting that if you want it first, you might want to put it on hold. Put it on hold. How do you put books on hold? You might be asking yourself this question. I want to show you how you can do that because it's a new feature that we happen to have available for you. You can do this for yourself. You go to the library's catalog. Let me switch over to that. Great. Here we are in the library's catalog. You can all navigate there, I assume. If you can't, tell me. Let me know. And you go over here to log in. You can click on login, and you can log in with your school network username, like mine would be Ellis Cat, and your 6-digit password, like that. Click login. As you can see, you are logged in, and then you just simply have to find the book. So I'm typing in the title. Once I find the title, it's down here. I can click on it and look at the actual record, and there is a button that says hold it. So once you request the hold and once the book comes and becomes available, we are actually going to get it to you. We're not quite sure how we're going to do that yet. Probably will involve sending you an email asking you to pick the book up. That's all I have for today. Thanks for listening to me, and back to class and back to you. Bye.